Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. Now, in today's video, I will come you to a disturbing reality check. In Washington, D.C., a powerful symbol of resistance and activism is being erased before our very eyes. The Black Lives Matter mural, which has stood tall since the tragic unaliving of George Floyd, is currently being painted over. Now, this isn't just a simple renovation. It's a deliberate attempt to silence the voices of Black people and erase the history of Black people's struggle. Now, the decision to remove the mural came after a Republican from Georgia, Andrew Clyde, threatened to withhold federal funding if it remained. But here's the thing. This mural wasn't just a piece of art. It was a gathering place for the Black community, a beacon of hope and resilience in the face of systemic oppression. And now it's being torn apart, literally and figuratively. Now, as we speak, the Black Lives Matter Plaza is being dismantled and taxpayer dollars are being used to fund this erasure. It's a reminder of the hatred and intolerance that still permeates our society. Now, in this video, we'll explore the implications of this disturbing trend and what it means for our community. And we'll also hear what my fellow Black brothers and sisters have to say about this decision. So with that said, let's take a look at these videos. I will be right back.
Just in case you all needed a visual representation of where we are right now, they are actively at this current moment in Washington, D.C., tearing up the Black Lives Matter street. Did you hear what I said? They are taking taxpayer dollars to tear up a street because that's how much they hate us. Do you understand what's happening? I just want everybody to be clear. Okay, they have people out there working to tear up a street that was laid down to represent unity, represent that our lives matter. Okay, and they are actively tearing it up, which shows what? They do not care about us and we do not matter. This is where we are. I just want everybody to be clear in case there was any misunderstanding. Also, none of this is normal. Okay. I just want everybody to be clear on that. So on top of the DEI rollbacks and on top of threatening schools, on top of all of that, we're tearing up streets now. Okay, that's how much this is rooted in actual hate.
Black Lives Matter mural in Washington, D.C. is currently getting painted over. This decision came after a Republican from Georgia, Andrew Clyde, gave them an ultimatum, either that the mural gets removed or they risk losing federal funding. So in a tough decision, they decided to let go of the mural. It's currently getting painted over as we speak. You can see live coverage on it on AP. The mural served as a powerful symbol of activism and a gathering place for joy and resistance ever since the tragedy of George Floyd, and now it is gone.
That story is never going to be washed away. It will forever be with us.
A poignant moment for Kiana Jones as she looks at her work at Black Lives Matter Plaza.
It's bittersweet, right?
She painted the 2-block stretch on 16th Street Northwest in June 2020. The space was created after the death of George Floyd as a place for both protests and healing.
That's what art is about. It's about creating. It's about having hard conversations, and you can create again. So it's never gone forever.
In a statement on Tuesday, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser said the district will paint over the mural that stands 1 block from the White House. Today, she explained why.
We have bigger fish to fry than fights over what has been very important to us and to their history, and especially in our ability to keep our city safe during that time. That mural played a very important part.
Kiana, who is a Southeast D.C. native, understands the mayor's decision.
People have been losing jobs. There have been budget cuts. There's been a lot that's been going on. And to have to fight for this and potentially lose a lot of funding that we definitely need right now, I understand that we have to make a choice, and sometimes art may not be it.
So at this moment, Kiana is choosing to reflect on the impact that her work made.
It speaks for itself. People travel the world to see this.
Including civil rights leader and former Georgia Congressman John Lewis, who made his last public appearance at Black Lives Matter Plaza in June 2020 before 1 month later.
It's a moment in history that can't be erased. I'm so honored and grateful to be a part.
She says while her work may be washed away physically, it will always be a part of her spirit that she leaves in her hometown.
Yeah, it can't be washed out. Exactly. Can't wash me out, baby.
As for what the new name will be, part of Georgia Congressman Andrew Clyde's bill calls for the new name to be Liberty Plaza. When asked about it today, Mayor Bowser simply said she does not support the congressman's bill.
I'm here at Black Lives Matter Plaza today, finding out people's opinion on it getting torn down.
Well, it's very unfortunate, and from my understanding, it'll be gone tomorrow. So I wanted to bring my two granddaughters to get them to see a part of history, because this will be history, but unfortunately it'll probably be erased, so we'll have photos and memories of it.
It's very unfortunate that this is what it's come to. I don't really see the benefit or the gain from removing something like this. I feel like it's something that's been a staple for, power and people in the community all over.
The fact that this is offensive to people is mind-boggling to me.
They started the destruction of the Black Lives Matter mural on Black Lives Matter Plaza in DC today. And I say destruction instead of reconstruction because they are actually literally destroying the street in order to just repave it. Now, it took millions of dollars to actually design this mural, and they are saying that it's going to take hundreds and thousands of dollars to actually reconstruct it. But I just want to stress again that they are actually using our tax dollars to destroy this street just to reconstruct it and redesign it, when we are literally getting ready to go into a recession. I also hear that they are going to rename the plaza as well. And as of today, they have not actually confirmed that yet and confirmed the actual new name. Now, this mural is actually north of the White House. So I believe this is something that number 47 has to see every time that he flies into the White House. So of course he wants it gone. Is this helping our economy? Is this actually helping anyone save money? Do you know anyone that this is actually going to help? Let me know.
Hey guys, y'all can go back and look at the video. I am trying to enjoy my vacation, but this came across my For You page and I felt like, 92% sit still. They're doing everything in their powers to ruffle our feathers and bring us back out to the streets. We don't need a painting on the street to let us know as black folks that our lives matter. We are showing them every day just by sitting still that we matter, because they trying their best to get under our skins. They can tear up every street in every city that they put Black Lives Matter on. Y'all sit still. Continue to sit still. This is not our fight. Let Americans, the one that came over here and took this place, let them do what they do. Tear things apart. We're not here to fix it this time. Let them tear it up. Them signs don't mean nothing. We know. If you're a black person, brown person, person of color, you matter. We don't need street signs to tell us that. Y'all hang in there. I'm enjoy the rest of my vacation. Deuces. Bye.
I don't think I should even say it's surprising, because it's not. How blatantly they are showing us that Black lives don't matter. Every move they make seems designed to undermine Black people's humanity and dignity. The erasure of the Black Lives Matter mural in Washington, D.C. is just the latest example. It's like they're intentionally trying to provoke Black people, to push Black people to the edge. Do they want us to take to the streets again? Are they trying to exhaust Black people, to break our spirits? Because honestly, what's the point of all of this? It is just to frustrate Black people, to make Black people feel powerless. It's like they're saying, we don't care about your lives, your history, or your culture. It's like they're really trying to prove a point. They're really trying to get their message out there. But we've already gotten it, and we already knew that this was going to happen, such things would happen. And just like a sister has already said, at this point in time, we don't care. We don't care what happens, because we knew that such things would happen anyway. Now, Starlet Thomas remembers coming down almost daily to the intersection of 16th and 8th Streets to protest police brutality and systemic racial inequities during the summer of 2020. On Monday, the 45-year-old Bowie, Maryland resident returned to the site of those protests to mourn the end of Black Lives Matter Plaza. I needed to be here today. I can't just let this go away, Thomas said, as jackhams began tearing into the giant yellow letters in the street. Now, Thomas discreetly secured a chunk of pavement and said holding it made her feel conflicted. To walk away with a piece of that, it means it's not gone, she said. It's more than brick and mortar. Now, crews started work Monday to remove the large yellow Black Lives Matter painted on the street 1 block from the White House. DC Mayor Mural announced the change last week in response to pressure from Republicans in Congress. Now, the work is expected to take about 6 weeks, and the words will be replaced by an unspecified set of city-sponsored murals. The painting of those words was an act of government-sponsored defiance during President Donald Trump's first term. Now, the removal amounts to a public acknowledgement of just how vulnerable the District of Columbia is now that Trump is back in the White House and Republicans control both houses of Congress. Bowser, a Democrat, ordered the painting and renamed the intersection Black Lives Matter Plaza in June 2020. It came after days of chaotic protests at that location following the unaliving of George Floyd by police officer. Now, Bowser had clashed with Trump over her handling of the protests, but now Bowser has little power to fend off encroachments on DC's limited autonomy, and said last week on X that the mural inspired millions of people and helped our city through a painful period. But now we can't afford to be distracted by meaningless congressional interference. The devastating impacts of the federal job cuts must be our number one concern. Now, among those who gathered to witness the work Monday was Megan Balif, CEO of Equistripping, the pavement marking company that originally painted the letters. Now, Balif called the dismantling of Black Lives Matter Plaza historically obscene and said its presence was more significant at this very moment than it ever has been in this country. The far right celebrated the shift online, with conservative provocateur Charlie Kirk visiting the site to hail the end of this mass race hysteria in our country. Now, in Trump's second term, Bowser has worked to avoid conflict and downplay any points of contention. She traveled to Mar-a-Lago in Florida to meet with Trump after the election and has publicly emphasized their points of agreement. Now, Trump recently reviewed a frequent campaign talking point about wanting a federal takeover of the nation's capital, describing Washington as being riddled with crime, graffiti, and homeless encampments. And Bowser has refused to comment on reports that the White House is preparing an executive order targeting Washington. She publicly said that the greatest threat to the so-called home rule autonomy was some of the people in Congress. Congressional Republicans have repeatedly threatened to interfere in city affairs in large and small ways. Now, a measure currently before Congress named the Bowser Act seeks to completely revoke the Home Rule Act of 1973, which grants the capital city limited autonomy. Now, erasing this mural on the street leading to the White House is expected to take about 6 to 8 weeks and cost about $610,000. And different people have reacted. And some, like Richard Mattox, a Kappa Alpha PSI member, said the removal is just a setback before a serious comeback. And this will always be because Black Lives Matter. Mattox said, "We are not protesting." He continued, "We recognize the meaning, we recognize why it has to be done, and we support the local officials, but we want it to be known. You can erase this, but you cannot erase our history." Now, let's note that this move comes as President Donald Trump and his fellow GOP leaders have widely targeted diversity efforts in the federal government, schools, private businesses, and more. And most of the people who stopped to watch the work said that it was sad to see the installation go. Sitting on a nearby bench, Karen Long, a former DC resident who moved back to neighboring Arlington, Virginia 2 years ago, described the construction scene as somber. Long, 55, said she heard about the demolition on the morning news and needed to see it for herself. Although disheartened by the effort, Long said she viewed the mural's removal as part of the long-moving process of change. Black lives, she said, would matter regardless of yellow paint on the ground. Now, there was a movement and there is still going to be a movement, she said, and this is not the end of it. This is just somebody saying, hey, I don't like that symbol being there because they feel some kind of way about it, so let them have it. Now, Sharifa Gathia, a DJ, walked to the mural with her husband Marvin from their home near DC's Union Market. And when the mural was constructed in 2020, Gathia, 37, said it brought a bit of togetherness to a city that saw turmoil during the COVID-19 pandemic and protests over racial injustice. But Trump and his fellow Republicans who control the House and Senate have targeted diversity, equity, and inclusion pushes, many of which were ushered in during the demonstrations after Floyd's unaliving. We have ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government, and indeed, the private sector and our military. Trump said during his joint address to Congress last week, and our country will be woke no longer. Now, the news of the Black Lives Matter plaza being repainted has, sparked different reactions from our community. While some outraged and frustrated, others are taking a proactive approach to preserve our history and culture. Now, seeing parents and grandparents taking their kids to see the plaza before it's repainted, ensuring that the young generation knows the significance of this symbol. They are teaching them that the history of Black people and struggles are valuable and worth remembering. And that's the thing. They can repaint the plaza, they can try to erase Black people's history, but they can't take away the truth. Black lives will continue to matter with or without the yellow paint. Their existence and the resilience of Black people and Black people's resistance is what make our lives matter. So we just need to continue to educate our children. Let's continue to share our stories, and let's just continue to fight for our rights, because no matter what they do, they can't take away our humanity and our worth. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do you our viewers have to say? Share your thoughts, your contributions as well in the comment section. Thank you for always watching, and see you in our next video as we bring you another video.